Let's start talking about the upcoming transit with the Sun and Mercury going into Virgo, followed by the Mercury Virgo Cazimi. And these three Virgo related events will occur August 23rd, 25th, and 27th. And when we bundle them together, they give you a 30-day opportunity to work consciously with Virgo and Mercury energies in a very positive and strategic way. But first, let's see if we can create a greater outcome by creating an overall strategy that uses Jupiter in Leo's year-long transit as a foundational theme. And the reason we like using Jupiter as a theme is because it's a year-long event, and that's long enough to create a change that feels significant in some way. But also because it's one of the lighter energies we can work with, because it offers growth, expansion, an experience of having faith, cultivating self-belief and optimism and luck. And that's really important, especially now as the world is going through such a chaotic transition. So we love Jupiter as a kind of like a container going midsummer to midsummer as a 12-month transformation. And just to be clear, we are talking about the light side of Jupiter in Leo, not the shadow side. And so here's the overall benefit of using a unifying theme to work over the next 11 months. We're talking about going all the way to July 26 to 2027, when Jupiter will move into Virgo. So instead of having isolated opportunities for random improvements with each transit, we use a theme, and this theme creates some synergy and allows us to apply some strategy to how we approach the different transits. And while Jupiter in Leo is not the only approach to strategically move your life forward, it should give you some ideas about how to work with a theme that you can explore for a year or maybe 6 months. But here's the thing. If you treat each transit like it's a one-off, you're definitely going to have some improvements, but it's going to be like 1 + 1 = 2. But when you see them as a cohesive team and you approach things more strategically, you get the benefits of synergy. And that's where 1 + 1 = 3. And so that's where we want to play. So today we explore the Sun and Mercury in Virgo and the Cazimi that comes in, bringing in a context of this strong Virgo Mercury energy, which invites you to make something better, to improve it, to think analytically and strategically, to throw off the fluff, the low value, no value pieces in some area of your life. And that is defined by how those transits interact with your natal charts, planets, signs, and houses, and the aspects they form. So most of us don't have the time or the resources to be scattered and ineffective in how we live our lives. So this is why the Jupiter in Leo is a great framework for focusing a year to achieve progress toward a specific outcome. And I have some resources for you, including a new hypnotic journey specifically for clearing the space for maximizing your Jupiter and Leo experience. And you can think of like when you come into a related transit, like we're going to have Saturn in Aries trine Jupiter coming on the 31st. You can clear the energetic space and clear your mental space so that you can take full advantage of what that transit can bring to you. So now let's dive into Virgo. And I want you to think about this set of Virgo cosmic events as your 30-day Virgo triple infusion. And it begins August 23rd and it lasts up until September 22nd. So on August 23rd, 2:19 a.m. UTC time, the sun enters Virgo. That's going to give you a 30-day activation. And then on August 25th, 11:05 UTC, Mercury's going to enter Virgo. And you're going to have 5 peak days from August 25th to August 30th, which includes the Cazimi, which happens on August 27th at 5:04 p.m. UTC, where the sun is going to be conjunct Mercury in Virgo. The Mercury Cazimi is then followed by an integration period, the 27th, that goes all the way to the 21st of September. So, this energy is going to be active with us for 30 days, but the impact can serve as a permanent step forward in your soul's evolutionary journey. So, 30 days, focused impact, but the long-term effect can be permanent. So now let's talk about Virgo just in general. Virgo, a lot of times people associate the shadow side, the being critical, nitpicky, kind of petty, hyper-focused on the details. And those are more related to the shadow side. But Virgo, at her best, is committed to lifelong learning, self-improvement, mastery of skills and craftsmanship, and then directing those skills towards serving others. So Virgo also speaks to participating in a lineage, a learning lineage, where we honor the master teacher as an apprentice. And if we really invest in learning these skills, we can eventually become the master and the mentor who takes on apprentices. So, and this is really where you see Virgo has the capacity for treasuring the value of lineage as a living legacy that's not static. And it's subject to being updated because Virgo is about making things better. So it's not going to be static. It's not going to let that lineage become obsolete and irrelevant. It's going to keep adding to it. So this is part of the high notes of Virgo. See, Virgo gives us the dignity of a job well done. And the burning evolutionary drive is to improve and to honestly see things as they are. You see the problems, you see the inefficiencies, you see what's wrong, and you measure it against an ideal, and then you use that mercurial mind to plan how you're going to close the gap while not chasing perfectionism. See, the mercurial mind brings in the capacity for doing the root cause analysis to see what needs to be fixed on the physical, mental, or systematic level so that it can make things better. So when you combine that with Virgo's fundamental urge to be good at something, to be competent, which then drives the learning and the mastery skills. And the results of those skills inspires the internal experience of self-dignity and self-respect. And those become the antidote to the shadow side, which is what creates the self-doubt, the self-criticism and the self-shame. The Virgo call demands and fosters intellectual rigor, the ability to sustain concentration, mental self-discipline. Sometimes you got to burn the midnight oil. The pursuit of excellence rather than chasing perfection. So when we have too much Virgo, then we go into the shadow side. And the shadow side idealizes perfectionism. And that gives rise to that self-doubt and the shame and being hypercritical of self and others, majoring in the minor, being nitpicky, hyper-focused on details to the exclusion of the big picture. And it also fuels chronic anxiety and worry. So that's the shadow side. Too much Virgo. But then when we have too little Virgo, that's a whole nother problem. And that leads to being disorganized and haphazard, settling for mediocrity, looking for shortcuts. In other words, half-assing it, and being lazy when we need to bring deep learning and mastery to the table. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the sign that's speaking to our mental sharpness and acuity, our ability to use our minds. And so this Virgo triple infusion is bringing in a powerful dose of that Virgo Mercury energy, but only if we use it strategically and positively. So on August 25th through the 26th, we have the ability to upgrade our mental program and take some time and identify any feelings of anxiety and habits of being hypercritical about self or others, or self-shaming and over-striving in an effort to achieve perfection in some area. August 25th through the 26th. And you need to understand that the call of Virgo is excellence through self-improvement. But there is no goal for perfection, because perfection is not attainable. Not for you, not for me, not for anyone. And then to kind of like balance out that energy, we have to learn to pause and appreciate our progress. And instead of being hard on ourselves, we have to learn to practice radical self-love, self-acceptance, while still allowing ourselves to pursue self-improvement. So it's a balancing act. And August 27th, that brings us into a soul communication. And that's the day of the Cazimi. You want to pay close attention to any infusions of insights, downloads that you get, deeper truths that become apparent to you, long sought after answers to problems can suddenly show up. Strategy becomes apparent and available. And so the night, here's something to do, the night of August 26th, as you're dropping off to sleep, ask the soul to gather some data or provide feedback, and then go to sleep. And then the day of the Cazimi, set aside some quality time. Do it earlier in the day. Set aside some quality time to meditate and journal and open up your mind to receive those insights and those downloads. And then on August 28th through the 30th, what you want to do is ground, purge, optimize. Use the analytical and organizing energies of Virgo to assess where energy and effort are wasted, vitality is drained, results are underwhelming due to poor routines, habits, and unsuitable work environments or systems. And then you want to look at how you can correct any misalignments so that you can have a greater sense of peace, greater sense of effectiveness, and more energy to apply to the things that matter. So now let's talk about the Mercury Cazimi meaning. It's basically a reset, a reboot of your mental capabilities, upgrading thought patterns, communication style, and perception to foster the clearing of the mind space. Because I don't know about you, but it's like sometimes we just got so much going on and we're doing, and we're getting pulled into all the chaos of the world, and we're just, you know, really kind of like overwhelmed with information and emotions and all the things that are going on in the world. And we need to have some clear mental space so that we can receive those insights, so that we can receive those downloads, so that we can receive that guidance, so that our mind can work for us instead of against us. And so the Virgo impact of this Cazimi, Virgo brings in those analytical capabilities, methodical approaches, and the ability to discern, to separate what is useful from what's not useful, what's overly complicated and ineffective, to be able to move those out of the way and put in some systems and processes and strategies that are more effective and efficient. So this is the Virgo impact. Let's make it better. And then the last thing we want to look at is sacred clarity, creating a mental space that just allows moving from confusion and overwhelm to calm clarity, order, and precision. So, for this transit, let's do what we do and end with a challenge. Challenge number 1. Set a goal or an outcome that you want to achieve related to Jupiter in Leo or some other planetary opportunity to create a desired outcome, shift, or transformation by July 26, 2027, when Jupiter exits Leo and enters Virgo. Set a goal, an outcome. Challenge number 2, find the touch points between the Virgo triple infusion and your natal chart, the planets, signs, houses. Find the touch points. And if it's unaspected or doesn't have any direct planetary impacts, then focus on the house that the Virgo triple infusion is occurring in. And think strategically. How can you level up your skills, be more strategic, systematic to improve an area that can support directly or indirectly your bigger theme, your bigger goal? And challenge number 3, use the first 2 challenges and plan and prepare to take action, because on August 31st, Jupiter is going to trine Saturn in Aries, and Saturn's going to be inviting you to put some structure and effort into progressing your goals. Think calendars, scheduling, planning, taking action in a strategic way that moves the needle. So challenge number 3 is about planning to take advantage of what's coming with that Jupiter trine Saturn. You want to establish a new level of being intentional and in action. And we're going to be talking more about Saturn in the next episode. And as usual, I want to thank you for joining the evolutionary party. It's an evolutionary party. It's a party, y'all. It's a party. And we've all been invited. Thank you.